And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening on this wonderful day. I think it's Thursday here in Australia. And I'm here with the beautiful Helen Prince, who's joining us for shining the light on our community. I really like these conversations too, because we do get to have a conversation to chat to our community members. So thank you so much, Helen, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I'm honoured, and I'm really excited to get to know a little bit about you and what you do, how you got to where you are now. So first of all, let me introduce you to all our listeners just a little bit. So you're a transformation catalyst. Wow. Your journey from shyness to empowerment is nothing short of inspiring. Oh my God, that touches my heart. We need to know more. And there was a pivotal moment in discovering that your missing piece, discovering your missing piece, which transformed you from a place of self-doubt and emotional turbulence to unshakable confidence and resilience. Oh my, Helen, that touched my heart, because it's a very similar thing for me. I was still am a little bit very, very shy. So I said, I'm excited. I want to know more. Tell us about Helen, from Helen. Tell us about your journey and how did you get to where you are now?
Okay, well, all my life I kept in the shadows
Yeah.
because I was crazy shy and I didn't quite understand why. Because my mum and my sister are the most outgoing people. They will just go up to anyone, strike up a conversation, and they're just the complete opposite to what I was.
Yeah.
And so all my life, just in the shadows, staying on the edge, don't get involved, sort of. mm, 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 mm. And anyway, so that's fine. You can get through life quite well like that. And all, if I look back on everything that I did, it was always in that support role. It was always, I'll do all the work and you get the
Right.
glory sort of thing.
Yep.
Um, and I was happy with that. And life was quite easy for me. My parents are still together. They're happily married. We had everything we wanted in our childhood and growing up. And that in itself caused me to feel guilty because
Yes.
it's like there were so many other people who didn't. But the thing that really made me feel bad was I wanted more for myself. And it was like, well, that's greedy. You can't have more. You've already got enough. Be happy, be grateful with where you are. And I was,
Mhm.
but you can't have more. And so that was I kind of made peace with that and went along with life and just lived happily ever after. And then in my mid 30s, I had children,
Yes.
and they're very close together. So I've got three children, and I turned into, it wasn't overnight, it was this gradual thing. After the third one came along, I went from this cruisy, easygoing, yeah, whatever person to this really angry, bitter person. And I remember waking up one day thinking, you know what? I hate who I've become. I hate how I'm being. I hate the mother I am. I hate the wife that I am. I just hate who I am. It wasn't the picture that I thought it was
Mhm.
going to be. I just thought, I'm going to have children and I'm going to be a stay-at-home mum. And my husband was very happy for me to do that. And, we were going to make
Live
Play-Doh from
dream.
scratch and do arts and crafts and, birds would
Yes.
be singing and all this sort of stuff. And it was
Yes.
not that.
And live the
and
dream
and
life, and then
yeah,
something got in the way. Yes.
well,
Life,
reality,
reality. Yes.
and I turned into this angry person. And that's when I sort of stepped back and realized, okay, well, I don't want to keep going like this. I don't want my children to have this kind of mum. I don't want my husband to have this kind of wife, because this was husband number two. And I'm thinking, well, you know, people will only take so much. And I
Yes.
didn't want that to happen. So that's when I went searching for something to fix, I use that term loosely, me, because I knew that I was the one that was, the problem here. And that was my first introduction into personal development. So I didn't get into this world until like in my late 30s.
Okay.
And and I loved it. I started doing law of attraction stuff. I still listen to Abraham. I just love Abraham and everything that they teach. And I did all of these things to try and get back to how I used to be, because I used to be fun, Sophia. I used to enjoy life, and I stopped. And so I did that. I did a law of attraction life coaching course. I did an NLP course. I did tapping, affirmations, or I did all of the stuff basically. And it all really helped me a lot. It helped me to see things differently. It helped me to sort of progress a little bit. And when I did the coaching course, I decided, right, well, this is what I actually want to do. I don't want to go back and do a 9 to 5 job. I want to be a coach. I want to help other mums who are struggling like me. But I was still really struggling. Everything helped me to a degree, but then I would fall backwards. And I would do that thing that women do where we just compare ourselves to everyone else. And it's like, okay, well, she did what I did, but she's fine. Why am I not fine? Why am I still stuck? Why am I actually feeling worse about myself now? Because now I can't even do this thing. Where, all my life, everything sort of came easy. It was like, well, I can't do this. Well, why can't I do this? And the more I did it, the worse I felt.
Yes.
And there came a point where it was I just had to stop, because it wasn't doing, it was like I'd reached the ceiling of what that could do for me. And
Yes.
now I'd hit the ceiling hard, and I'd been ricocheted right back down to where I started, but even worse than where I was. So, I would go out and I would be seen to be doing all the right things. I'd go to the networking events, I'd do all the stuff that you're meant to be doing. But when I was at these events, I wouldn't tell anyone what I did. So I may as well have
Yes.
stayed home. You
Yes.
know, I had to build myself up and say, come on, come on, come on, you can do this, you can do this, and get there and go, and really give myself a pep talk just to show up, and then not even tell anyone. It's like, well, you've expended all that energy and you've gotten nowhere. So you may as well have stayed home. Because people would ask me what I did, and because I couldn't say to them, okay, well, I help mums get rid of all of their beliefs that they think they're not a good mum, and the comparison, all of this stuff. I help them get rid of all of that. Well, I still have all of that. So how can I possibly help you? And how can I actually ask you for money to do that when I know that I can't get you that result, because I can't get it for me? And that was the biggest thing that stopped me from really talking about what I did, because it was so incongruent, and I felt like such a big phony.
Yes.
So I never told anyone. I had a lot of free clients because it was fine for me to do stuff for free, because I know if it didn't quite work, that's okay. She didn't give me any money. That's okay. But you can't, that's not a business.
No, you
You can't
can't.
pay
You
the
can't
bills with
sustain it.
free clients.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I kept thinking, the whole time, and because I was still working part-time, because obviously, bills to be paid, and kids and wife and husband and all the things that women have to do. And the other thing was like, well, I while I was doing all of these little processes, they helped in that moment, but as soon as I stopped, I would crash again. And it was like, I don't have time for this. So well, if my target is mums as well, they're not going to have time for it either. So I remember just thinking, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be an easier way. There's got to be a way that you can do something once and that's it. You're done. Get on with life. It's like, learn what you need to learn about it and move on. And then you can learn the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, not keep revising. It was like I was being kept down in grade one for 20 years. Instead of going to grade two, grade three, grade four, I kept being held back because I wasn't learning the lesson. And anyway, so that's when, you be careful what you ask for, because that's when Maz and Creatrix came into my life. And I realized that the problem wasn't me. The problem was I was using processes that weren't designed for women, basically. And that was the thing that turned everything around for me.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. Really, the single thing that you're using processes that weren't designed for you. So you're able to change that and like create those processes.
Well, the
That's
process
just
was already created. It's
yeah,
called Creatrix, and it's been created by a lady
great.
called Maz Shermer.
Yes,
And because she went through a
I
very
love
similar
it.
thing, she,
Yes,
she's a NLP master practitioner. She's actually a
yes,
trainer in it. She's done the highest level of hypnotherapy. She's done the highest level of all of the processes and was using them. And what she found was that her male clients would get great results. Her female clients really hit and miss. And the majority of them would come back within 12 to 18 months. It can be shorter than that, but that was
yeah,
like the maximum. They'd come back with the same thing. And so that sent her on this whole, why? Why? And she went down the path of, gender differences, our hormones, epigenetics, and all of this sort of stuff to realize that there are dots that were missing. And so she's connected them because we are very different. We want the same things in life, men and women. We all want the
yes.
same things. How we get there,
But that
though,
is very
is
different.
it's very
You're
different.
you're speaking my language, Helen. I'm so glad that you've come today because I'm pretty sure that, I'm not the only woman, and just by you telling your story, is like, yes, that's you're like you're talking my journey.
Yeah,
So, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. So, wow, thank you. Thank you for
very
sharing that.
welcome.
And how has this helped you in your life now?
So I found Creatrix back
This,
in September 2016. And when I had my first experience with it because my big thing was being seen. I didn't want to be seen because that was really, really scary. And from then, so what is that, 7 years ago now? It turned around on a dime. And I started actually teaching and training. And if you had said to me, when I was younger, or even a few years before that, Helen, you're going to be a trainer. You're going to teach people. You're going to be out there in front of and delivering stuff live and talking to groups and groups of women, I would have said, well, you don't actually know me because
mhm,
that's never going to happen. But once I had Creatrix and I got over my big fear of being seen, I realized how much I did actually love teaching.
mhm,
And so that sort of morphed into, so I do two things. I teach women how to be, we call them creatrix transformologists. So basically teach you how to do this process, just like if you were learning how to do any process. So I teach women how to do that. And I also work with women who they don't want to know how to do it. They just want the
one
benefit of it. So
benefits of
they've got
doing it.
yeah.
So you're
So
doing the one-on-ones.
yeah, so it everything turned around on a dime and I haven't looked back since. So that's 7 years on now. Whereas before, I would do stuff and I'd be lucky to last a week before I started getting into the head talk would start.
And the
And it's
stuff
not
that
to
it's not
say that,
working. And yeah,
yeah, that's right. And it's not to say that I still don't get frustrated, I still don't come up against challenges or anything like that, but it's this different perspective now. So instead, before I used to run and hide,
yes,
basically. But now it's like, okay, well, this is new or this is whatever. So it's like instead of seeing the world like this, I see the world like this. And so, the answers are everywhere. But if you've got blinkers on, you can't see them, even if they're sitting right here. So Creatrix just basically opens up all of those perspectives for you.
opens it all up, which is a
Mm,
wonderful thing to know. And now people can contact you through the links that we've been putting on in the Facebook group through your Facebook if they want to know more and to come and see you personally. You do,
absolutely.
because you said that you help people who don't want to actually learn how to do it, but just to go through the process, and you do that one-on-one and remotely. Now
Yes.
that we live
Yep.
in a world of online stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I'm excited. I'm going to check it out more and things like that. So that's good. Can I ask you, Helen, since you've come into this whole creatrix thing, since you've been able to change your life, completely around, and I'm assuming now that, your children love you and you have that wonderful family. We still go through stuff. We've still got issues. We still have challenges, but it's much more connected and stuff. But can I ask you, what what what's the most important lesson that you've learned in life?
There's always a way, and you don't know what you don't know. So just always stay open. If you want more, you deserve more. There's no somewhere along the line we've gotten struggle and worth and achievement all mixed up.
Yeah.
So it's like, you have to struggle to be worthy of the achievement sort of thing, which is something that I believed for a long time as well. And well, you don't, because an achievement is an achievement. You don't, if a child is learning to walk and one child gets up straight away and just starts running, and the other child has to, get up, fall down, get up, fall down, maybe takes a little while. You don't, you One's not better than the
Better than
other.
the
One
other.
achievement is not better than the other. They both have achieved this incredible thing, and you would cheer both on equally. Something happens along the way as we get older. It's like, oh, well, you don't actually deserve that, and this one deserves it more because they're struggling more. So that in itself is something that I think, if women can realize that that isn't true, because beliefs, what is a belief? It's somebody's truth, but it's not everybody's truth. And truth is a very loose word as well. So if something's not working for you, if you want more, just know that you are worthy of more. But it's up to you to go and do something about it. You can't sit around and wait for somebody else to give you something. You've got to, if you want it, you go and get it. And the more that women are able to really be selfish and make sure that they are happy, that they are whole, that they are the ones that are, emanating that positive energy that affects everyone that they come into. We're not as good as we think we are at fooling people, saying, yeah, I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
And really, we're not fine,
We're yeah.
So, know that you're worthy. And if you want more, you deserve more, but you need to be the one to go out and take the steps to get it. And when you do that, your entire life will change. Everything that you attract in your life will change. The whole energy around you. And, that's something I noticed with my kids, because they were still, I think my daughter was 10 when I found Creatrix, and then the boys were a couple of years younger. So their energy changed. The whole energy in my house changed because I wasn't fueling this angry, bitter toxicness. They were reflecting that back to me. So when I wasn't doing that anymore, what they reflected back, and it's just a more peaceful and calm and happy,
completely different
life.
world. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And we all know, well, we're told, we heard, and I know, like, and I'm sure you do too, the value of having a really good practice in the morning, like it set the foundation. So with Creatrix and everything that you've done in the past, now, what does your morning routine look like?
So this is what might take a little bit for you to get your head around.
Yeah, that's okay.
I don't have to do things to feel good, because because Creatrix is so thorough. It's like, well, I know I'm worthy. I know I'm good enough. I know I'm good enough as I am. I don't ever have to remind myself of that. I don't ever have to do affirmations to remind myself of anything. Some days I do feel a little bit flat and you have low energy, and it's like, well, okay, well, what do I actually feel like doing today? Not what do I have to do because I've set something up. It's like, okay, well, I feel like just being near the ocean, so I'm going to go down to the beach. Maybe I'll go and jump in the water, or I feel like just doing nothing, so I'll sit there. Whereas before, I felt guilty for doing nothing. Do you know what I mean? It was like you have to keep doing something, because if you're not doing something, you're lazy and blah, 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 blah. So now it's really allowed me to just listen to my own body and my own intuition and just go with that and not fight it, because fighting it never really got me anywhere anyway. So I really go with the flow. I like to do yoga as much as I can. I go maybe 4 or 5 times a week, because that is 100% Zen time for me, where I don't have to think. I just follow along, and that's probably the only thing I do religiously.
Love it. Nice and easy, just allow. Because
Just
so
allow.
much, and I hear what you're saying, that, you don't worry about affirmations, because, there was a time when you did, like we did all the affirmations, we did all the positive things that, getting into that whatever state. And sorry. And now you're just allowing, just totally and absolutely allowing. I love
And
it.
there's times when, I do still go off track a little bit.
Yeah.
And I do, because what you focus on is a choice.
Yeah.
And if I do find myself going down a little bit of a rabbit hole, there's that whole, oh, hang on a minute, what are you doing? And then it's just more of an adjustment, and it's more of a, well, okay, well, that's not working. So what do you actually want?
Yeah.
And I guess you could call that a positive affirmation in a sense. It's just shifting that focus as well before you go too far down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. Thank you ever so much. One last quick question before we finish up, and that is there any question that I could have asked you? And how would have you answered?
I don't know. What could you have asked me? I think we covered everything. It's really the reason why so many women, and if you look at anything with personal development, it's a good 75% of the audience is women, because they're still looking for that answer. So if what you're doing is working, keep doing it. All right. If you're going along though and you're finding that it's been a while and you keep struggling, you can't quite, it's like you get this far, but you can't quite get over the hump. It's because you're trying to hammer in a screw with a hammer. All right. You need a screwdriver to get it in there. The hammer will do it if you force it.
If you force it, but
that's right.
That's
But that's all it is. Exactly. It's not you, it's the tool. It's just not designed for women, taking into account all of who we are. That's it.
I love that.
Don't beat yourself.
Thank you. I want to know more. Please come back. Please, 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 please come back. This has been great.
Anytime.
And for everyone out there who's watching, do connect with Helen. If you're going through the same thing and you're struggling day by day, you're trying all the affirmations and the positive thinking and the jumping up and down and getting into state and all that type of stuff, and you're still having blockages, come and talk to Helen. Thank you, Helen, so very, very much for joining us. It really has been an honor. I would like you to come back and have another conversation, because there's so much that we can talk about here. So much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
All right. Let me just